Well, good evening and welcome to this month's edition of The Edge. As always, I'm your host, Trevor Lewington. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. As you know, every third Thursday of the month, I'm talking to community and business leaders who are having a real impact here in Southern Alberta. And we get to hear their insights about perhaps how to build your business or build your community, or perhaps even build a better life. And so whether you're watching on Roku TV, or direct on the website, or YouTube, or Apple TV, or look, at the end of the day, we don't care how you got here. We're just super happy that you were able to join us tonight. So tonight, I'm super excited to have Kris Hodgson-Bright with me. He's an instructor at Lethbridge Polytechnic. So we're going to get into all kinds of crazy stuff, including Gaussian Splatting.
Sure.
I don't even know if I said that right.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was in your bio, so we will come to that because
Okay.
I've got to find out what the heck that is. But welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks so much for inviting me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so Lethbridge Polytechnic is one of the major post-secondary institutions here in Southern Alberta. How did you end up as an instructor? That feels like quite a title. Like, what was your journey to that chair?
Yeah, it was kind of like you think of the family circus where the kid's playing in the backyard and he's going everywhere. But I started off after I did a degree in journalism and communications. And so I worked at weekly newspapers, Parksville, Qualcomm Beach. So that was really nice. My first place was like right on the ocean. It was beautiful. And playing.
People like to end their career.
Yeah, maybe I'll end it there too.
That's nice.
Yeah, like beach volleyball every Wednesday. As the tide came in, is just amazing. And yeah, a really great community. Was there for a little bit, then moved on to work for the Westlock newspaper, Athabasca, Beaumont, and Devon, just all around the Edmonton area. And I covered sports. I covered anything that went on in those communities, and then switched gears after into economic development. So working for Leduc and Nisku economic development right around the international airport. And that was cool. Just switching gears felt natural. I thought it was going to be a big leap going from journalism to marketing and public relations, but it seemed like a really good fit. And then that brought me to Lethbridge next with economic development. Lethbridge started that 2009, which was great to be part of the team. And I was there for a couple of years, and then a position opened up at the college, now Polytechnic, for first it was business training. So I was helping Sean Miles, and I thought I was going to be working with him at economic development.
Also an alumni.
Yeah. And he ended up moving just as I came down to Lethbridge. And so I got to work under him for a bit. And then a great position came up where there was some regional development funding for essentially like an extension of the wind turbine technician training program. So it's like I created a dream job where I got to like educate kids like K to 12 on renewable energy. And then I went to Toronto and Vancouver, and I think Chicago was in there somewhere, just to try and relocate businesses to this area and invest. So yeah.
Very cool. So I mean, I always say that economic development is where everybody's career should start. So I'm glad you got that was part of the pathway.
Mm-hmm.
That's always exciting to me. So I mean, you started your career in journalism, which is communications, included some marketing.
Yeah. And
now you've come back to essentially communications and media, but more on the digital side.
Yeah. It's been fascinating. So I've been teaching at the Polytechnic now for 14 years. It feels like yesterday that I started. Yeah, and it's just been a ton of fun. The students make sure they keep me young and also like engaged on what pop culture actually matters.
So you must be pretty hip and sort of in the vibe with all the latest and greatest things.
Well, I try to be, but my students just laugh at me like, no, that kind of fell flat. So yeah,
it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I try, and as long as they're laughing and engaged. But yeah, and it's been crazy. Like when I started 14 years ago, we had 9 newspapers a semester. So we were cranking out 18 newspapers a year. Wow. As a second year student, you're writing like 3 stories a week. Now we've transitioned to 2 newspapers a semester, and we do a magazine still on top of that. And so that we just celebrate our 40th year for the magazine, and the newspaper is like in its around 60th year. So it's amazing, all these milestones and just constantly evolving with technology and trying to ensure that the students are getting great jobs at the end of 2 years. So
Yeah, because I thought print was dead.
no.
We're still producing
No,
papers.
yeah, no, there's a lot of great print shops. I love print. I'll never let go of it. It's just so nice to have a printed product.
Says the guy that only reads real books.
Oh, nice,
So,
good, yeah. So, and I still love like glossy magazines, things like that. So it's nice to actually pick up those things, and it's so great the pride that you see in the students' face when we put together the newspapers and the magazines. Still, it's really evident. But yeah, just transitioning all the time. Our industry advisory team is like telling us how they're evolving their workplace and how we should be integrating various different technologies into the classroom. So that's been really helpful. So
the program is industry driven, right? The intent is to produce people that can actually be employed when they graduate. And so industry drives that?
Yeah, it's really neat. Like we connect, well, like if we're not connected already on LinkedIn, every day we're seeing how things are evolving, but we have a dedicated time at least once a year where we sit down, we show them our curriculum, we tell them what's new in the classroom, and then industry kind of lets us know what they see as well and the trends that are coming up and how they're adopting. But the nice thing is that students get a chance for print and online, they get radio experience, television, and then they also get experience with the whole Adobe suite. So InDesign, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and then like for radio, it's Burley. So a bunch of technology. So they can be kind of like a expert on a variety of subjects on a variety of mediums. So
but in that way, they've got an introduction to a broad range and hopefully can land maybe in any one of those spaces. They're going to be versatile enough to sort of jump.
Yeah. And yeah, they're incredibly valuable to the employer because they're like, what, can you do this? They're like, yeah, I can do that too. So
I got that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you must have seen a pretty big arc of change over those 14 years. So
yeah.
And obviously I think the technology is part of it, but even media companies, I think Chorus just announced another round of layoffs, and
yeah, it's sad.
How do I say this nicely? The shrinking of real journalism and real news, particularly in markets like a Lethbridge.
Yeah.
What are some of the big trends you've seen over those 14 years? Like what's really impacted how the program gets delivered today versus say 14 years ago?
Yeah. So that newspaper was one example, just the shift in how many newspapers it was. We called it like feeding the beast. We had to get as many stories as we could into a weekly newspaper. Or it was just nuts. Like it was so content, just right? go, just keep on writing. Doesn't matter what you write. Now we're slowing down. It's like, okay, let's get some like things that will have some more shelf life, some nice features and profiles, and talking about people that are making the impacts on the community, like the people you invite on this channel. So it's really cool just to see how that changes. As far as other things, we just have a really nice like dynamic like interactive classroom that we can really push to a variety of monitors, and the students like collaborate in different ways, which is really neat. Podcasting obviously really hot, with television. No, and then like content creation. So it's like everybody's pushing content through YouTube, and it's just finding out how you can get that message effectively to an audience. And we notice with a lot of our grads, they are shifting more to public relations and comms, but still there's that hardcore bunch that I really love that do love the journalism, and they stick with it, and they can still find great jobs. It's just if they're willing to travel.
Okay. Yeah, I guess because again, you may have to go to the market where the opportunity exists, and they can be far and few between these.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Now you've always been pretty heavily focused on digital media. I know you've had an interest in that space. It includes a lot of things. Yeah. But can you talk a little bit about what you see as the potential of digital and why students need to be engaged in digital technologies and understand them sort of as they look forward? Yeah,
so I guess that's a good place to kind of start with artificial intelligence. And just right now it's...
AI hallucinations. Yeah. So you can clearly tell if you know what you're looking for that are absolutely fabricated.
Yeah.
That people take as fact.
Yeah. And so like some of the things, and I'll get to the AI a little bit more, but like over the time that I've been there, I've been doing some fun research projects like 360-degree storytelling, so essentially, like, which is really fascinating, at the Radio Television Digital News Association. That was really cool. But it was just, again, like, how can you actually and analyze to see, do I have a bias? What perspectives did I not include in that?
Right.
So it's like another fact checker, another set of eyes to see if you can have a really nice, well-rounded story. I think that's cool if it can do a good job. And this is kind of like a test and see year. And then the other one was to see the context of any issue. So you write out whatever the issue is that's being talked about, like, well, how long has this issue been talked about in the I think that's really neat. Another really cool one is Notebook LLM. And so what it does is actually take either any of your notes or your collection of stories or things like that and turns it into a podcast in seconds.
Wow.
And it's just like these two people in there. Visual, it's just audio, but still a different way to listen to material if you're just like zoned out from.
But isn't there, it's a little terrifying. I've been playing around with a couple of different tools. One built me an entire PowerPoint presentation, complete with graphics. It was way better than any work I could have done myself. And it was a relatively quick process. So, there's always this fear about being replaced by AI and elimination of jobs. So
yeah.
Are we preparing students to use these tools, or are they just going to be replaced by these tools?
Yeah, so those are the ways I'm trying to get them to integrate and work with it this year. And then anytime I like catch it for actual writing, then we have a one-on-one conversation, things like that. But you're right, like you still need an expert in those areas of wherever you're using the AI, because if you don't, that's where you can lose something. If you suddenly think you can become a financial advisor just because ChatGPT told you to, you're going to be steering a lot of people down a sad lane. Right. And it's not going to be so good. So just making sure that you're an expert in that area so that you have one. I'm asking students to do this. Last year I did as a research project and just came to the conclusion of that around June. So that was very cool. And that is like one of the most trustworthy ways that I found AI has been really positive for the students to get rid of their anxiety, even if they have none, even to bump up their mark at letter grade. So
yeah, certainly public speaking. That all just sounds like the same. You maybe explain sort of which one, how they're different.
Sure, yeah, I'll try my best. The mixed reality piece is a blend of the two. So virtual reality is usually when you have like an animated environment around you. It's nice now that they can start using technology to create these realistic environments that you're walking through.
Animated, and you can walk through the different environments. You can play video games in that way. And then augmented reality is kind of like Terminator. Think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he has those glasses on, and he has like all the readout that's coming down the side.
But
That's
he's still looking at the
yeah,
existing world as it is.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like if, for example, we're walking down the street, we can look at a sign, look at a restaurant. It'll suddenly say like this got it like a good Yelp review, and it'll give you information as you go as you're looking at things to really have you interact with your environment as you go. And it shouldn't like, I don't know. I haven't tried these on myself. I have to get in there and check them out. But yeah, it'd be spitting out information. Or you could be talking to Meta AI as you're just walking down the street. Plus, the privacy thing is interesting, where you can now have in the sunglasses with the augmented reality recording people just constantly. And so from a privacy perspective, you're just on the street, you overhear a conversation, start hearing things, and then you can then share that with a different audience. It'll be interesting how people will go about walking down a normal sidewalk when they know that there's a potential of people wearing all of these different Ray-Bans.
Yeah, and not only is what I'm saying being recorded, I'm being cataloged, photograph is being taken of me, I'm being assigned a tag, stored somewhere, replicated, like,
yeah,
and on and on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Getting into the Blade Runner, so yeah.
Well, thank you, because I think those definitions sometimes get lost on people.
Yes.
And that virtual reality is its own environment
Mm-hmm.
unto itself, more and more realistic all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas augmented is applying those tools in the current reality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, that's very helpful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've talked to a lot. There's all these AI tools. There's all these digital tools. And there seems to be a real convergence.
Yeah. Yes and no, but yeah.
So what are your thoughts on kind of where we go from here? And I guess interesting to me is, how do you possibly prepare students for this world that is as yet undefined?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
as my boss
Totally.
said to me a number of years ago,
Yeah.
when she's like, quit worrying so much about the corporate ladder or the org chart, because the dream job you think you want doesn't exist yet.
Nice.
And I thought, well, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
In some ways, we're teaching people to leverage technologies that we actually don't know what they are yet.
Yeah.
Because they're still being formed and piled together.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for that tipping point where you have like the beta and VHS, and we just get to choose between those two. But with AI, there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of different options out there.
Right.
Some are bunk and some are great, and you just kind of have to like wade through them all to see, okay, what's the actual application in my everyday life or my business where I can actually improve things, or is it just like, is it actually taking me more time and I could have just done this myself? And just like, oh, there goes another hour, and why did I spend all this time? But yeah, it's right. It's just like wading through the stuff, testing things out, seeing what works, at least understanding like the bare bones of how that works. Same thing with like the Adobe suite that we teach. Adobe has been changing its licensing model all over the years, really ticking off a lot of people because it's just getting more and more expensive and more exclusive. And some people have gone away completely. And it used to be like seen as the only place that like graphic designers go, or illustrators. You should only stick with Adobe products. And then now you have like DaVinci, and you have all these different other aspects where you could do things with like free apps that are sometimes just as good as any of these other premier Adobe products. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of at least you understand, okay, this is what it's being used for. This technology may change in a couple of years again, but at least you understand how to make use of it in your, wherever you're going.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what do you think is next then? Like, if you had to put on your prognostication hat, what do you see in the next couple of years as the next big technology, the next integration? Like, where do you think it's
Yeah, I think the adoption more of people, a lot more people will be wearing glasses for the augmented reality things. I think can see that it might be a transition more away from the smartphone towards more things being loaded into the augmented reality. That'll be loaded into these glasses, so it's not so annoying, and we don't get a crick in our neck from the doom scrolling on our phones and things like that.
Me what it thinks I want to know.
Yeah.
In a timely way as I pass the store.
I think, and like integrating the AI aspects where it starts to actually know what you like and dislike to make like a curated list of things that you appreciate as you're walking down the street, getting the augmented reality elements from whatever landmarks you're walking by.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there, I know the Polytechnic is very big on industry engagement.
Yeah.
You've already talked about that a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah.
But also the applied research. And
Yes.
actually, doing research to solve real world problems. What are some of the applied research areas as it relates to digital communications and digital media?
Yeah, so there's a lot of other cool people on campus who are doing some fun things. Tyler Heaton is one of them with the spatial work. He just got this amazing, well, if you have watched like The Mandalorian on Netflix, I think it was, I can't remember what streaming platforms, Disney, I guess, whatever streaming platform, but that whole Mandalorian like series was being filmed in this VR essentially, or this 360-degree studio that had it just projected on all these amazing LED screens. And so there's now one of these amazing 11-meter wide screens, and I think it looks 6 or 8 feet tall. I haven't even walked into the room yet because it's so brand new, where again you can start doing some of that virtual broadcasting, or you can transport yourself anywhere and it looks realistic, like you're on a Hollywood set. So it's crazy that just how fast this technology is moving. But again, to understand those elements, and I think the applied research elements would be, again, trying to find those business cases. How can you solve and make life easier? AI might be solving that, but it also might look hokey in some elements. So to look for those bigger solutions where you actually have that kind of infrastructure to make something look more professional, you might want to do those partnerships with the Polytechnic then. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think the digital wall concept, I mean, you're focused on creative industries at the moment.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Working in film and TV, and there are a number of very interesting video production companies in town doing that kind of work. Yeah. But, typically the barrier's been, that's something you would find in Toronto. But now it's Lethbridge Polytechnic. Like, I can go and work with faculty. Yeah. That technology is accessible. Like, do you find that the technology is being democratized as it gets cheaper? I mean, VR goggles used to be $1 billion. Yeah. Yeah. Now you can get some pretty decent ones that are pretty accessible. Do you find that that's sort of the next evolution?
Exactly. Yeah. Like even when you think about media and publishing and how newspapers have evolved. And so looking at how you have like just a few gatekeepers who can put out that information. Now everybody can put out information. Everybody can be a media content creator. Same thing, where it comes to looking at now we can be creating these amazing like blockbuster films, and it doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be in the Toronto, Vancouver, Montreals. Right. You can be in Lethbridge doing all the same things, which is pretty amazing. So making it more accessible to more people. I think having more creatives engage with this stuff is so exciting, just to see what people come up with. And I think there's been a couple of our grads going through like the Tell a Story Hive and creating some really compelling like either documentaries or short features or even like horror pieces. And it's been cool just to see like, oh, you guys like have a passionate group of people making these pieces, and they're right here, and they're getting a lot of recognition for it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you think back in your career, is there things that you wish you knew then that you know now, having been an instructor, being in digital tech, that you could have done perhaps selling renewable energy differently, or like how do you see some of those use cases in your own work that you've done?
Yeah, well, that's a good one. I have to ponder that one for a bit, but I think I don't know about any regrets or like looking back on how it could have been done better. Sure, like it's almost like getting into Star Trek with like the holodeck, and I just love that show growing up. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think like the spatial idea of media where we can create these we can create our own holodeck essentially with these fancy like screens that just allow us to transport us anywhere in the world. So I think looking back to find more compelling ways to engage and bring people here for renewable energy, for example, maybe it's just a really sleek package of like, check out all of this incredible land that's available to this region. You could do that through VR by transporting and like bringing industry to Lethbridge in southern Alberta. And it doesn't matter that they have to be anywhere. They could be anywhere in the world, and then learn more about this region. And so that could have definitely helped probably just understand the ability for them to be very successful with renewables.
And you can tell that story with this technology.
Compelling.
Him for ideas to do my job. So, that's really what this
perfect.
Yeah, because I mean, I just see this storytelling that's possible with technology. Mm-hmm. To your point, some people are auditory learners. I'm a visual learner.
Right.
And so the traditional textbook or the traditional sales brochure doesn't appeal to the vast majority of people.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's not compelling.
Mm-hmm.
So these technologies unlock different emotions and different senses. And
Yeah. And like, I'm a kinesthetic learner, so like I want to move and do stuff.
I have to touch
Yeah. So it's so fun to like get the students, okay, now you're going to learn about your brand new camera that you picked up, your new DSLR, and we're going to go outside, and like, what? We get to do stuff? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like, it's so nice to compare to other programs when you think about midterms or final exams. I'm like, don't worry, you guys, when classes are over December 5th, you can peace out for a month. And then you can just go to everybody else who's writing those final exams, because we're doing the stuff during the semester that really challenges them to create that content, to know and get that instant feedback, so they just keep on perfecting their art.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there are barriers for students with these technologies. I mean, obviously, sometimes, even though they're cheaper, accessibility through price if you've got to have your own.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Are there other, I guess, what holds students back from being successful at fully embracing some of these programs and these opportunities?
Yeah, well, even like with the technology, that like VR headsets are still like cumbersome to some people, and they're kind of even scared to like put it on, and it's just the adoption rate has been not as fast with uptake. Price definitely has a lot to do with that, but yeah, just also like, well, besides video games, how am I going to make use of this? And so now there's like so many training opportunities for different businesses who are actually helping their employees to really understand the different dangers on a work site before they go into those situations, and practicing those like over and over, I think is really exciting. So I think just getting over that fear of the technology, and notice it with like even the public speaking, that they got over their fear of that anxiety. As long as nobody could hear them when they're in that VR headset practicing their speech, like, they were okay. Yeah. And we had like completely soundproof radio booths at the Polytechnic, and still they like were worried about people walking by. I'm like, oh, come on, you guys. But they want to take it home into their bedroom where it's completely silent. Their annoying brother or sister is not going to walk by, where they can actually not be embarrassed if they screw up or something. I'm like, it's all good. Like, we're all just human beings, and we call it like the Vegas rules when people give their speech. Like, what happens in this room stays in this room. Don't.
No one is judging
you.
We're all in
yeah. So it's nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you find the transition from traditional media, economic development of all things, to academia, like, was that a difficult transaction, or do you feel like it sort of flowed? These are all complementary.
Yeah, it's neat how it kind of flowed. It's crazy to think now, and I never would have thought it.
Yeah, because you've never seen this as the outcome.
Yeah, and it was always like these leaps from like traditional media and newspapers. So I was writing like 20 stories a week, taking about 20 photos a week. It was lots of fun and great to like perfect my photography and things like that. So then as things like went on, it was these leaps into economic development or to market. I'm like, can I do that? Like, and it was just like having these conversations with family members. And my dad's like, well, you got to fake it till you make it. And so I'm like, can I be an instructor? And luckily there's a lot of educators in my family, which is nice. So it just like, my mom started a Montessori school in Saskatoon and a lot of really cool things. So I think that just the teaching aspect and like wanting to help people and just like seeing the excitement in their eyes is just always something that it never gets old. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, because post-secondary, it seems to be under attack a bit at the moment. And certainly traditional universities are being challenged to create more people that are employable, quote unquote, and solve real world problems. I mean, what was Lethbridge College becoming a polytechnic? Is that part of that evolution of addressing sort of society's demands and community need, or because I feel like that was to try and shift what the institution actually does? Yeah,
I think it was interesting. It was a name change, but it was like we were doing all the things anyways. So it's just helping really to appease the provincial government, really, because they are wanting to make sure, again, if you're going to post-secondary, you get a job at the end of that 2-year diploma.
Fair enough. That's
awesome.
That's a worthy
great.
outcome.
Yeah, we all want that too. And that's awesome. So I think it was just a matter of changing that perspective. The Polytechnic just reiterates that applied research element to show that we're trying to solve like real world problems in an environment where you can practice this over and over again with really excellent researchers from around the world. Like Polytechnic just got like $4 million for agriculture research again. Like, it's just amazing to see. And Southern Alberta, great. The Canadian Food Corridor, like, this is where it's happening. So it's so exciting. And so even in my area though, I have to really tell the students, I'm like, guys, if you want to go into agriculture, you guys are going to do amazing. you can be a media content creator and you can tell stories really effectively, you're going to be wanted in so many different places. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I mean, obviously there's the federal government's changed immigration rules around immigration.
Yes.
So Polytechnic got bruised budgetarily.
Yes.
Provinces have, frozen tuition,
Right.
frozen funding.
Yeah.
As you look at what institutions like Lethbridge Polytechnic need, and we're not getting political here, but is it about resources? Is it about, access to industry? Like, what actually is going to drive your programs to success? What needs to help lift those things up and make them even more successful?
Yeah, like just partnerships, really. With I've seen a lot of success even with students doing their internships, and they make these great relationships with industry, and they see like, oh, you are creating some really great students by the end of their 2 years, and we're happy to take them on as employees afterwards. They try them out for 120 hours or whatever their internship class is, and like, okay, yeah, you have a great attitude. Let's keep it going. But yeah, I think it was incredibly sad when they saw all the changes in international students, because it was like the rest of the country got punished for things that were going on in Ontario, and is really sad, because I think that creates such a vibrant classroom dynamic with like multiculturalism, and you get to learn about so many different cultures, and it was happening right in the class, and I think students were really seeing great benefits from that and what they were learning. And so
even best practices from other countries
Yeah.
around the topic that you're talking on
yeah
adds to that global perspective of, oh yeah, this is how it's done in other places.
Yeah, and like even this year it's been cool, like see students from the Philippines or from India or from Nepal. Like it's fascinating. They bring all these different world perspectives, and just such a more rich and like really satisfying experience for the students. Like, oh, that's really cool. And some of these students, they come with like degrees, and then they're taking a diploma because maybe the degree, they were like an engineer and now they want to go into multimedia. Like the creative industry is like, it's always attractive to these students. It's just, again, trying to connect with industry who are doing really exciting things. And if they can have those partnerships with us, I think that's really where it's going to keep on rocking and rolling.
So that's sort of the key business, key message to the business community is
Totally.
Join in, step in.
Yeah.
You want these great graduates and you want the talented workforce, you need to be there to help.
Totally. Yeah,
right?
exactly. And that's, you're seeing it like across some great post-secondary institutions across the country. I think that's what will help, despite all these budget cuts, despite all this happening, that like things will continue on. And I think things are really exciting with like these dynamic programs that are like cranking out grads in 2 years instead of 4 years. I did a 4-year degree, so I'm just thinking of my student loan. I'm like, I wish I would have done a diploma, because I could have been, I could have been like out of the red faster. So yeah.
So again, I think it's things like work integrated learning. So because
definitely, that's
the
exciting.
Polytechnic also does research projects or sort of short-term projects with businesses. Right? There's case studies. There's of course internships and co-ops. But I think there's many different ways that they can get there and be a part.
Yeah, the work integrated learning, I've really been happy with how those have really worked with the students. Over the last few years, we did like a partnership with wellness services, even within our own Polytechnic. And so students wrote stories about mental health. And so that was like an incredible benefit to the rest of the student body. And so then they could choose the topics that the students wrote, and then the students went out and did the work. They did the interviews. They came up with the photography, photographs to go with it, or the infographics. And then they could choose when throughout the year to do that based on various campaigns. We did it again with like McMahon, and it comes to like talking about addictions and like learning and having greater empathy about people with addictions. Or we worked with like Christine Cassie with like Chinook Sexual Assault Center. So like to write these very challenging stories, and some students did push back, and understandably so, very challenging pieces to write. But if you can write that, you can write anything. And so having those partnerships where even the nonprofits can use this content throughout the year for their campaigns has been really exciting. And it's really helped the students, I think, get a whole breadth of writing opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, we've been blessed at Economic Development to partner with the Polytechnic on the Technic Marketing Challenge.
So good.
10 years, right? So students get to pitch their marketing ideas to these businesses. And so as an entrepreneur, I'm getting, 4 or 5 different ideas that maybe in isolation I can't go to market with right away, but I'm getting a bunch of different ideas to stimulate my own thinking for free. Right? It's like intense consultation for an afternoon.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what they come up with. Yeah, these like crunch days, and the students, yeah, they're creating logos, they're creating different marketing campaigns. Have you considered this? Have you thought about this? And this is a way to engage. And it's like, wow. And they do such a good job. And it's, yeah, to have a panel of judges who are very prestigious. So it helps the students like up their game. And they have to work with students that they haven't even worked with throughout the year, which is neat too. So
so I love, again, opportunities for industry and business to be involved.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean a financial contribution.
No, it doesn't have to. No.
There are many ways to explore partnerships.
Yeah, exactly. Like these contra deals. If you like, okay, we can create content, maybe we can do something in exchange for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit.
Sure.
I want to talk a little bit more about your journey.
Okay.
So you've got this very full course load, 6 classes a
Yeah.
semester.
Yeah.
You've got, all these young minds that you're trying to mold and shape and make into decent human beings. They are already.
Yeah.
You've got a young family at home. So how does Kris deal with those pressures and that stress?
Yeah. I always joke, this is just a goofy saying, but like I say the pandemic ruined me. Like I stopped drinking as much as I like have like 1 beer a week I used to have, but now it's like once every 3 months, maybe if that. And then I started running, this weird hobby of like actually getting out and like throwing on a pair of running shoes and trying this.
Some of your different things that you've undertaken, and it sort of makes me nervous that that's even possible.
Yeah. It's just finding a really cool group. I think I wish I would have done this earlier. It's just find a running club within whatever community you're in, because these people are the most happy, upbeat, and like they can have the worst day. Things can be going sideways in their life, but they can go out for a run, and they can either like just get rid of that stress and just kind of like let it melt away for just even a half an hour. And it's been so helpful for like my mental health, just running more and biking too, just through the beautiful coulees we have around here. It's just been really nice to find more excuses to get outside. I used to really love being outside, like with hiking, but running has been like taking it to a different level. It's been neat.
And was it the pandemic that you were kind of looking for something to do, or just sort of a natural evolution?
Yeah, like the stir crazy. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. My wife and I, we got one of those Peloton bikes, and we're like, okay, so that's been helpful to really, when we're all stir crazy at home, to just like get us moving. And then the running also. I can't sit still for very long. And so this was just another way to help the mental health aspect, getting through that crazy bunch of years that we all made it through somehow, and just trying to find joy in the everyday. Yeah.
But again, I think it's, there's something to be said about changing your physical state through exercise. In your case, running. Hats off to you, because I did that up a long time ago.
It's a weird sport.
And then also, the change of venue, being outside and be just sort of a natural environment.
Yeah.
It's a pretty powerful combination.
Yeah, I found like some really great friends, some guys I just, like, you want to go for a run today? Sure, let's do it. And creating this little community that you can really like lean on. And I think that's been so good. And so, I definitely encourage anybody who's like thinking about running, just like, if you connect with that running community, whether it's just like at your local shoe shop or things like that, it's really neat to see like how you can push yourself. And I pushed myself to run like 6 half marathons and 2 full marathons, and never did I think I'd run more than a half an hour.
So like doing a half marathon was never on the radar.
No.
It's something I want to accomplish.
No, it's just like, okay, I guess, it just pushed me because I was in this marathon club. I'm like, well, I guess I better do this now. Can I actually run these distances? So let's at least like get I participated medal, and I have like a nice little wall of fame. So
it's good. You can go touch them every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, on your journey, has there been like a mentor that's been powerful for you, or again, not name names, but have there been people that have influenced you with those life lessons, and what were some of those key sort of lessons that were provided to you?
Sure. Definitely. Even from a young age, I think the really cool thing that I didn't really pick up until later was that my uncle worked at a radio station in Saskatoon.
Oh, okay.
And so I grew up in Saskatoon, always loving the radio, like the David Bowie, Yes, any of those, like those are the songs Michael Jackson was huge, and just listening to radio constantly growing up. and to actually like call into the radio station and make a request, I thought was so exciting. And and so my uncle, like, he had this amazing job, I thought, where he'd go to movies for free or monster truck events. So I go to like monster trucks in Saskatoon. Yeah, I was like, this is a pretty cool gig. I remember like he took me to the radio station, showed me all the different things. He's like, okay, what's your favorite song right now? And I told him like Weird Al Yankovic, Smells Like Teen Spirit. He's like, really? Of all the songs that are out there right now, you choose that? I'm like, yeah, sure. And so it's so weird. And so it's to think that like when I was in high school, I think I wanted to go into criminology. Like I was looking at becoming a police officer or going into becoming a lawyer. Okay. And then that just like shifted once I actually went to university, and then like the marketing and comm side and journalism really appealed to me. And it's neat to kind of think back that my uncle was really an inspiration. He still works for that radio station in Saskatoon. Wow. So it's really cool. And then like now I think people I'm looking up to are people like Nicholas Thompson, the CEO of The Atlantic. Okay. And because every day now he's doing a video about how AI is changing things. And he also has a passion for running. And it's just really neat to hear about like how he came through various struggles in his own life, with his own family, his father, and things like this, with his relationship, how things were like estranged and how he came through that. So it's been neat to see through running, but also through like the latest technology and how he's the CEO of a magazine that's actually doing okay with enough subscribers that again is a printed product. Yeah, so you can be successful. Yeah, exactly. So okay. I think he's somebody who's really inspiring to me right now. Yeah, there's a bunch out there, but that's what I can think of right now. Okay. Yeah.
No, and I think there's a powerful lesson in your story also for any students that are watching, that you started out on a path and criminal justice of all things. Yeah. And then you've ended up in a very different place. Yeah. Now as an instructor, right? Yeah. That what you set out, that path you set out on, is not necessarily a straight line, and that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
You're gonna want it.
Yeah. It's great. Like just I think the best thing is just like keep on following your passions. If you don't like your job, quit it. Like, don't keep on going to that crappy job. Like, find something you're excited about that you actually want to get out of job, like get out of bed for every morning. And I think that's what I always thought, and that's when I've kind of made these different changes and like pivots in my career to something new, because I think that's really helped. Like again, keep me sane, keep me excited, engaged, and again, if you like fast, busy days where you really don't know what's coming at you, like yes, an instructor or going into the media, those are great places to be. Economic development, you don't know what delegation is coming through that day.
The project is different.
Yeah, so I think that helped and whatever feed my ADHD or something. So yeah,
which is good. You got to feed that beast.
Yeah. So
So as you look back on the various projects you've been involved with, and again, it could be across your whole career. Yeah. Is there one thing you look back on and go, I'm so proud of that. That was me. I made that happen. Or is it's all just amazing and sort of rolls?
Yeah, like I think the best thing is just working with people that you really appreciate and admire. And when you can do that, I think it's been really neat to see those milestones. Like, yeah, when I worked in economic development, it was very exciting to work in renewables because I was so passionate about that. And like moving from gas, and it was like
quite a contrast.
Yeah, it was like the 2002 2009, like that bubble kind of burst with the oil sector, and like things were shifting. And so I was like, oh, if I can pursue renewables, I thought biofuel, and that was like where I was hoping to see like the energy transition. And it's really nice to see like the contrast in our province. Renewables in the south, oil and gas is making the country work at a national scale up north. And so I think just always kind of a feeling of hope. And so whether it's renewables or if technology can like bring greater empathy to understanding with different stories, I think, yeah, that's kind of helped things. So.
Very cool. Yeah. I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, any final thoughts you want to leave us tonight?
No, I think you said it really well, but just like, don't think that you have to have your life set in one certain direction and you got to stick to that path. Like change directions constantly. That's the fun of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like our grandparents were like, they're in a job for 50 years and that's all they did.
Yeah. And I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked for them and they lived their lives and they're happy, but I bounced around and I'm the poster child for lateral moves.
Yeah.
Gain new skills and do different things.
Totally.
If there's students out there or businesses that want to learn more about what you're doing, what digital media and communications looks like,
Yeah.
is the website the best place for them to
Yeah,
go?
yeah. Like the programs I teach in digital communications and media. The other one is multimedia production. So both of those diplomas are incredibly exciting, hands-on, creative. You get to have so much fun. So we would love to have you. Definitely, it's always neat to see who shows up in the door every year. It's always exciting for those first years to see like how is this class going to be. So yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thanks again for joining
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
Thank you for joining us as well. This is Kris Hodgson-Bright from Lethbridge Polytechnic joining me this evening. Look forward to seeing you again next month. We've actually got 2 shows, one rescheduled from August. We'll be talking to Michelle Des-Miles from the Japanese Gardens, and then we'll have another special guest later on at our regular spot. So look forward to seeing you next month. Thanks so much for watching.